Of course.
So I will share your notes
Yeah.
and then so okay. So what you did was split simple group of type. You actually discussed the groups of type G2. Recall that we discussed classification of simple algebraic groups or algebraically closed fields in terms of root systems which have connected Dynkin diagrams. So these are simple algebraic groups. Okay, so I should maybe um, allow people and so on. I should keep this separate. Yeah. Now I think this should work. I'll try to make it as big as possible. Okay. So recall that we discussed classification of simple algebraic groups or algebraically closed fields in terms of root systems which have connected Dynkin diagrams. So if the group is simple, root system is irreducible, and then the Dynkin diagrams are connected. Also recall that an algebraic group G defined over K and simple is called K split. So this is over a general K now. This is called K split if there is a maximal torus inside the group G which is split over K. That means all its characters are defined over K, or it is isomorphic to Gm cross Gm cross Gm R times over the field K itself. That is the equivalent condition. We start with the root system capital Phi for T, for G with respect to T. Then we have the root lattice. So this capital Q is the root lattice which sits inside the group of characters, the characters of the torus. So these are group homomorphisms from T to Gm. Then it's a lattice in the vector space generated by the character lattice. It will have the same rank as xt. So xt mod q is a finite group. So xt is the set of all characters, and by q we have only the root lattice. So therefore this is a finite group. So where is the weight lattice, Manish? That will be bigger than xt, or it will be...
Yeah, that is bigger than XT.
Okay. So is this the one? Yeah.
Yeah.
Let capital P be the dual lattice to Q. So what happens is that there is already some inner product on xt. How do we get the dual lattice with respect to some inner product? Do we have an inner product on E? Okay, so when you have capital Phi, there is an inner product on root system already, and that inner product carries to xt because capital Phi will span E. The vector space E is spanned by capital Phi, so we have the inner product, and it's a non-degenerate inner product, so we can take the dual with respect to that. So this is the lattice dual to Q, which means that you are collecting all vectors in the vector space E such that lambda comma alpha is an integer for every root alpha.
So this angular bracket is the same angular bracket we had defined before. So it is the usual inner product of lambda twice that divided by alpha alpha.
Okay. So so we have that this angular inner product lambda equal to...
You can write just a comma b. I mean, just to define it. Yeah.
2 times a comma b upon b.
Correct. So then you
And
can see root lattice is a sub of that and so on.
correct. So root lattice will sit inside capital P. Q will sit inside root lattice already. And the group P by Q is finite. This group P upon Q is finite, and this is given by... So there are various possibilities. In the case of n, the group is SL n plus 1, and so you get n plus 1th roots of unity, z modulo n plus 1z. Bn, Cn, and E7, this is z by 2z. For Dn and even, it's the Klein 4 group. And for odd Dn, it is z by 4z. E6 gives you Z by 3Z, and all these remaining 3 give you the trivial one. So P equal to Q for E at F4 and G2. So these have something to say when the group is adjoint, when the group is simply connected, and so on. So the finite group P by Q corresponds to the center of the simply connected group of a given connected Dynkin diagram. Okay, so shall we maybe just go to G2 because this was...
Yeah. This is generality anyway.
Yes. These are the simply connected groups of various
I
types.
just wanted to say there that simply connected split groups, or in general, how are split groups constructed?
Yes. So these are the types. If your root system is AN, then the corresponding simply connected group is SL n plus 1. For BN and DN, those are the spin groups. And for CN, it is the symplectic group, SPN. So these are the simply connected groups, and then you take the center in these groups, go modulo them, and you get the corresponding adjoint groups. Okay, so we now proceed to describe the first in the exceptional series, namely G2. So octonions is quite familiar object now. It's a composition algebra of dimension 8 over K, and we declare G to be the automorphism group of capital C. So this is the group of all K linear algebra automorphisms of C, and G lower bar is the automorphism group of the composition algebra over an algebraic closure of small k. So these are the full group of algebra automorphisms of C. Then G lower bar is an algebraic group defined over small k, and G lower bar k rational points is capital G. G lower bar L rational point for any field extension L over K is the automorphism of C tensor with L over K. So the algebraic group property will come because, after all, you are looking at some algebraic condition that it should preserve the algebra automorphism, algebra structure. So that's an algebraic condition. Therefore, it's an algebraic group. It's a group very clearly. And by construction, these things hold. G bar K, G lower bar L is ought, C, L, and so on. From the definitions of trace and norm, we have, so this is the composition algebra trace, which is x plus x bar, and norm is x bar. X bar also happens to be the this is the bilinear form obtained from the norm form x comma e minus x. Now, this is something that we had some...
What was this E here? Can you clarify?
E is the identity element in the algebra.
Yeah, but
right,
somewhere
Manish?
you talk about E invariance or something. Means automorphism keeping E invariant. I thought if it's an identity element, it would be invariant, right?
Yeah. But there the point is you are trying to say any automorphism is orthogonal with respect to this quadratic form and of one dimension less. So that's where we say it fixes E. Of course, so this is the identity element of the algebra.
Okay.
So do we have any update on why phi of x bar is phi x whole bar and so on?
I did not work it out, but if people have tried, then I can clarify. Otherwise, I'll do it right now. So it is just you have to expand this. That's all.
But
So,
the inner product will be preserved, no? Under automorphism.
So the thing is, this is x plus e times x plus e bar. This inner product is x. So you have to expand x plus e into x plus e bar minus x bar minus e, right? So when you expand this out, it will follow, I think, from there, that calculation.
But is the bilinear form preserved by phi?
No, we have to prove that.
That also needs to be.
Yeah.
I was wondering if it is possible to observe it in the following way that so you take this automorphism phi and it will take, so x generates some degree to algebra over small k, and the automorphism will send it to some another degree 2 subalgebra. And do we have Skolem-Noether, which will say that these two have to be conjugate by some element inside?
No, I think last time you said using that every element satisfy the degree 2 polynomial, no? Trace
Correct.
and norm.
Yeah.
And from there it follows, because you can apply it to
Yeah,
that.
so the only catch in that is you'll have to prove that polynomial is unique. Yeah. So in any case, this is a small work one has to do. I'm not right now ready with notes, but I can clarify if people want. You continue, then I'll work it out.
No, but I have a suggestion if you hear me
Yeah.
out. So,
Sure.
you know, we have phi, which is going to take the algebra generated by X to some isomorphic subalgebra of the composition.
Correct, correct.
Then this isomorphism will be given by
No, so the catch in that is that vector may be isotropic vector, then Skolem-Noether cannot be applied. The subalgebra has to be a composition subalgebra.
I see.
So,
Okay.
so x square can be 0, for example, right? So
Yeah.
that kind of situation has to be avoided, but yeah,
So we will go ahead then.
yeah. So let me, in the meantime, if you go ahead, I'll work it out.
So we make this observation that G lower bar sits in the orthogonal group on the norm n because it preserves norm form, and therefore it sits inside On. And now what we are going to do slowly is to compute its dimension. So we
I have a question regarding this.
Of course, Pralay. Yes, please.
So what kind of field this K is?
K was any field. Maybe he is removing
And
the
then
characteristic too.
I mean, how do you conclude that G bar is in ON?
What is the question?
The question is why is G bar is inside On?
So this is following from this line where you say phi of x bar is phi x the whole bar. So that I'm
Right. So I understand that G is in ON. So from that, how is it G bar ON?
No, Pralay, of course, we are using some theory here. I'm not writing everything. So, of course, density of K points is being used there.
So, but that's not true in general, no? I mean, if I take K to be finite, then what will happen?
No. Algebraic closure is infinite. So, you work this out over algebraic closure.
No. I'm saying that you are saying K points, something is, the K points need not be Zariski dense, right?
Yes.
But the whole argument can be made over K bar itself, no?
No, but Pralay, this is a direct checking. I'm just working it out. I'll give you a proof of this.
This statement itself, instead of this G, can be replaced by G lower bar.
Yeah, so here you prove for every extension, the L points sit in L points. That will do the proof, right?
Yes.
So it's enough to prove for K, therefore.
Yeah, meaning any field and corresponding algebra.
Correct.
Okay, so we have S contained in C is a subalgebra. We denote by yes.
I also have another question, like something extremely basic. So, for example, I mean, how do you conclude that this group is defined over G bar? I mean, I understand that it is K closed, but once you want to conclude that it is defined over K, I mean, how is it possible?
I did not understand the question.
So it's clear from the construction that G lower bar is K closed. But this kind of thing, you see, arises only when you have positive characteristic situation. So I understand that G bar is K closed, but how one concludes that G bar is defined over?
Because your automorphic, the composition algebra is defined over K. So its automorphism group is defined over K. Meaning all it has to do is that it should preserve the algebra structure which is given by
No,
polynomial.
that means that thing is K closed. What you're saying is equivalent to saying that things are K closed. But there is all you are saying that it is satisfying some algebraic equation with coefficients in K. So that means that it's K closed.
Then what is your condition for saying defined over K?
No, Pralay, all that can be done. Let's pass that.
So वही हमको पूछना है. I guess all that can be done. I'm hoping so. But
Right,
it's
right,
not
right.
clear from this whatever you have written.
No, you should look at Springer's book on octonian algebras, etc. There is a proof for that.
Right. So I mean there is some kind of subtle points are involved.
Yes, there is. There are lots of subtle points which I have not brought out.
But can we at least have a mention of those points, meaning what is it that we should check?
Yeah, this thing in general is not true that if I take a K algebra, even of course finite dimensional K algebra, and then take the automorphism group of that as I defined, that then it is defined over K. So the point is this definition of being defined over K requires whatever it's called, a K structure and so on. So for that,
So see the point is the ideal. So as you have pointed out when the very beginning, if you recall,
yeah,
there's a difference between something is a zero set of some polynomials over K, and the full ideal is generated.
The ideal, but Shripad said that, but yeah, in this case, one has to check the ideal of the group is generated by polynomials defined over K. So there is a positive characteristic, there is some subtlety there.
No, you mean when the field may not be perfect and so on.
Yeah. So your variety may be defined by polynomial. You can look at the variety defined by some equations with coefficients in K. But when you look at all polynomials vanishing on the variety, it may gather some problem. I mean, you have to show that you can choose polynomial generators for that ideal which are defined over K.
And if you don't do that, you'll run into trouble as far as defining K points and so on. So,
Yeah, but Pralay, these algebras are very well behaved in that. We can pass this.
वही हम सुनना चाहते हैं कि कहीं पे है ये.
Yeah. There is subtlety. I thank you for bringing it out. But indeed, I waved hands there.
Okay, do we go on?
Yeah.
So, S is a subalgebra, and then we would have this subgroup OT CS. This is the group of automorphisms of C that leave S invariant, pointwise invariant, meaning these are all automorphisms inside OT C, such that phi x equal to x for every x in S. And so of course we will compute these, and our aim is going to compute the dimension. Basically, we want to, once we have defined this group G bar, we want to say that it's the simple group of type G2, and that can be done once you know its dimension, which will then and the dimension of its maximal torus, which will, of course, we will also need to prove its reductive or semi-simple. And then by looking at the dimension of the maximal torus and the possible number of roots, we will be able to conclude that it is the group of type G2. Right, Manish? That is the basics.
Yeah.
Okay. So S is a subalgebra. For any subalgebra, we can define OT CS. This is the subgroup of automorphisms that leave S pointwise invariant. We wish to compute these subgroups when S is a quaternion subalgebra. So, first of all, this x, y, z is y x bar z, and this is also same as x z y bar. So you can multiply by x bar on both of these sides, and then this x vanishes and you get an x bar here. Or you can multiply by y bar to the right, and this y bar will vanish and you will get a y bar. That is what this look like.
एक question है इधर. Can I ask?
Yeah.
So, see, you have given the description, given a quaternion subalgebra or whatever, subalgebra D for which C is the double. you have given the description of all automorphism in terms of this A and so on, and this D and so on, right?
No, not all automorphisms, those which stabilize D.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I wanted to mean ought CD. So Udar, you have written this P should come on the other side, right?
What does that mean?
That P phi of x plus ya, you have written Cx inverse plus P Cy C inverse A. Should it not be
Yeah.
C
No,
inverse
no,
PA?
no, Pralay, but that's what I said. There is some algebraic jugglery required to bring it to the form I have written. It's not a trivial statement.
Okay.
It's a theorem there in the book. I have just said that essentially Skolem-Noether theorem and norm comparison. I mean, the fact that
But
automorphisms are
it is kind of clear that it should be Cx inverse plus Cy C inverse times PA.
No, it's correct, but that you can change that p to some other p prime and bring it on this side.
अच्छा. ठीक है.
So it requires some work, but this is the final version of the.
But why do you need P on the other side? I mean, what is the problem if you keep the P on this side?
There is no problem. You can keep it anywhere you like.
No, I mean it is not create some problem later. I mean,
No. The thing is,
no,
you
why are
want
you
to
insisting?
see.
No, I'm asking why are you insisting on bringing the P on the left side?
I am not insisting anything.
Then it is clear to me that it is because phi of A should be phi P times A, right? Because A is
Yes,
A,
yes.
so phi and P should be of norm 1. That should be also clear. So
Correct.
I was wondering why you keep P on this side. So
No, there may be some reason for that, which I did not come across in my material I covered. Maybe there is some reason to keep it in that position.
Acha.
I don't know. I cannot say for sure that is. So I did not need it, but that position may be useful somewhere. I don't know.
Acha. Okay. I just want to ask you this.
Yes, Sripad.
Okay.
So yeah, you were here. So phi d.
So the point of these equalities was perhaps that if you take any A in deeper, then dA is going to be equal to deeper. That is
Correct.
perhaps the point. And so you can write C equal to D plus dA, where your A is with norm of A being non-zero. So any non-zero element in deeper will generate deeper over D. And to determine odd CD, what we do is that suppose we start with such an element phi, which takes D to D, and we have already observed that G bar is contained in ON. So since phi is in ON, we have that phi of D perp is deeper, and it follows that there is a C in D with norm C non-zero and P in D norm P1, such that you have phi x equal to Cx C inverse for every x in D. So this is the Skolem-Noether, which says that phi of x. So image of D under phi is given by in some conjugation by an invertible element, and then this P will come in the picture that phi of x plus ya is phi x, because phi takes D to D, so it will take phi x plus phi of ya. So phi of ya is phi by phi a because it's an algebra automorphism. So phi y is C by C inverse, and phi of A has to be P times A for some norm 1 element P. That's the point here.
Yeah. No, so Pralay was asking why I put P here, not next to A. So
Okay.
that's what we were arguing about. So point is that you can either put it there or you can bring it here also, but it will become some P prime then.
Yeah, P is in D, so you can always bring one from
Correct.
here to here. So that is okay. So
Yeah.
phi of A is P times A for some P in D of norm 1. Okay. Are there any other questions other people may have?
Yeah, I think things are getting a bit messy. People are not comfortable, maybe.
I have not been able to check it this week. Otherwise, I would have checked and maybe said something.
Somebody is asking something.
No, प्रलय का mic on है बस. That's
हाँ
it.
तो हमारा और एक क्वेश्चन है मे बी
हाँ
on the later part. So I mean I'm just
हाँ.
maybe I'll not disturb, but
No.
let other people ask. I mean I'll ask as we go ahead. You are going ahead, right? You are not stopping.
Yes, we will go ahead. Yeah. No, I was just waiting for people to see if anybody else has any comment, but maybe no one has a comment yet. So conversely, if you take C, an element in D of non-zero norm, and you have a P of norm 1, then the map defined in this way is an element in odd C, D. But Manish, did we not say that we are fixing D pointwise
Where?
here?
No, there are two subgroups. One
Odd
is,
C by S.
yeah, this is the one which fixes pointwise.
Oh, so odd C, S is only one which takes S to S.
Correct.
And odd C by S is the one which fixes it pointwise. Okay, so
Correct.
here we are just having D going to D.
Right.
Okay, so for any, first of all, you can fix an element in D of norm 1, and then you change A by PA and you get an automorphism. You will perhaps get the same deeper. That will give you the same deeper DA, and that gives you an automorphism. And again, meaning another complication you may add is that you can take conjugation by an element in C of the whole algebra. That gives you another automorphism which will take D to D. So meaning, are we saying that any automorphism in C, D is basically a composition of two of these specific automorphisms?
Correct.
Where one is taking conjugation by non-zero elements within D, non-invertible elements within D, and then changing A to PA, where P is a norm 1 element in D. These are the two automorphisms, and we are just combining them. No? Or maybe, yeah, maybe that's why Pralay's remark is that then why P is not on that side. So, okay, so this is the thing. So, these are the automorphisms that we have. And then we have this proposition saying that this automorphism group is basically given by D cross times SL1D, because you have C to be an invertible element and P is taken only to be in norm 1. So you have some kind of a product here. And if something is fixed, if D is fixed pointwise, then the conjugation will have to be coming from the center of the automorphism D, but then there is no effect on the automorphism. So it is only SL1D. So odd C, D is some kind of a product of D cross and SL1D. Maybe we will have that D cross will act on SL1D perhaps by conjugation.
There is a semi-direct product.
Where D cross acts on SL1D by conjugation, or it's the other way?
Yeah, SL1D will be normal in this one.
So D cross will act by conjugation.
Yeah.
And odd C by D, the automorphisms of C which preserve D pointwise, is simply the group SL1D. So let G bar D denote the corresponding algebraic group. Then this is a closed subgroup of G bar defined over K. And once you go over capital K, this is SL2K because D is a quaternion division algebra. Therefore, this group odd C by D, or which is also G bar D, this is a group of dimension 3. So this is how now we start counting the dimension. So the group which fixes D pointwise is of dimension 3. Shall we go ahead, Pralay?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, now we are going to compute dimension of the group G bar. So note that any automorphism of C fixes the identity element. So this is where I think Riddhi had asked the comment that it fixes now identity. So it will leave its perp invariant, which is a 7-dimensional subspace, and take N1 to be N restricted to E perp. So that's a 7-dimensional form. And we let H bar be the elements in SON which preserve identity. G dot E equal to E. So we are taking all elements in SON. How do we have this action G dot E equal to E?
Which one?
If-
Oh, this is no. I'm looking at. So this is the norm form of the octonion. So in that SO, you are looking at stabilizer of the identity element.
Oh, yeah. So G bar is sitting here in SON. Oh,
No, not G bar. You are looking at SON itself. In that, you are looking at those guys which fix the identity element.
okay, so G will act on the whole the composition algebra C, and we are
As a
looking at
vector space,
the point
correct.
stabilizer of the identity element. Okay. Which theorem will give that the restriction map from H bar to SON1 is an isomorphism of algebraic groups. Also, restriction from H bar K to SON1. Okay, so that is all right. So this H bar is simply the SO of this N1. That's
Correct.
what we are saying here. Okay. So now we will prove that G bar is a connected algebraic group of dimension 14. Connectedness will be obtained by showing that it's irreducible. It acts on some irreducible variety with the point stabilizer being irreducible. That is the statement. Now let X be the variety of special 1-1 pairs in CK. So these are all elements X comma B in CK cross CK. Capital K is the algebraic closure. So these are the elements ordered pairs A comma B with the property that A comma E as well as B comma E as well as A comma B is 0. And norm of A and norm of B is 1. So the 1 comes from here. These are all elements. So E, B, A, B and AB will generate a quaternion algebra in CK. So these elements now may not be defined over small k,
Correct.
but they are there over capital K. Since capital K is algebraically closed, we have that it's non-empty. Witt's extension theorem says that there is an isometry fixing identity and mapping one spatial pair to other. Hence, H bar acts transitively on X. So we have identity element is being fixed. We are looking for isometry which fixes identity. Now A, if you take a pair A1, B1 and another pair A2, B2, then we are saying that, of course, the norms are preserved.
Yeah, and they are orthogonal. So you will be able to find such an isometry.
Yes. So what we are saying is that we will send A1 to A2, B1 to B2,
Correct.
identity to identity, and that can be extended to an isometry.
Exactly.
That is what we are saying. That's where we are using Witt's extension theorem. So this isometry will be preserving identity element. Therefore, it belongs to this H lower bar. This is something which preserves identity. And because we have some liberty at our hand, we can make the determinant 1 of that isometry. So it is actually in SO. We have that H bar is something in SON, so that determinant can be made to be 1. Okay, so of course, maybe, yeah. So that is all right. So now D contained in C is a quaternion subalgebra. So when we have not suffixed any K, this means you are taking something defined over small k. A comma B in D capital K be a fixed spatial pair. So these will be the elements which will generate capital D. So E, A, B and AB. They are the elements which generate D capital K. The stabilizer of S lower bar of AB in H bar is isomorphic to SON2, where N2 is the restriction of capital N to perp of this three-dimensional space. Okay, so we are stabilizing this ordered pair, and of course identity element is preserved because we are inside H lower bar. So E is preserved, A is preserved, and B is preserved. So these three are preserved, and so their direct sum is taken to itself, and then we are simply looking at the perp. And what we then say is that everything which is in the SO of N2, by again perhaps the Witt's extension theorem, can be extended to an isometry of H bar fixing E, A and B.
Hello, I have a question.
Yes.
So why don't we have also like KE plus KA plus KB plus KAB there?
Because then I guess the dimension will decrease. We just, meaning we don't seem to have any bias against KAB, but we want to compute some dimension. And this seems to be
What is the question, Sumit?
No, I'm saying that when we are defining N2, so we are taking generated by E, A and B. So AB will also be fixed, right? So we
No,
have
why? AB need not be fixed by a general element of SO.
I think it's isometry, no? It's not.
Yeah, it's only isometry. It's not an automorphism.
Okay.
Ah,
Okay. Thank you.
wow. Yeah, I did not realize that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sumit. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so N2 is the restriction of N to this perp of this three-dimensional thing. This three-dimensional is sitting in 8-dimensional. So the perp has dimension 5.
Correct.
So N2 is a 5-dimensional form, and SO N2 will have this 5. So we have the 5 by 5 matrices, and we should look at to compute the dimension, we should look at 5 by 5 skew-symmetric matrices. So you have zeros on the diagonals, and then you have to count how many there are. So 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1, that gives you 10. And N1, if you remember, was perp of the identity element. So that's a 7-dimensional thing. So you have to count, you have to take the sum 6 plus 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1. So that is 21. 21 minus 10 is 11. So H bar upon S bar. S bar is the stabilizer of this one fixed special pair, and where we were looking at all such pairs, that is the set capital X, all special pairs of type 1, 1, that now say the set capital X has dimension 11. So 11 is the dimension of this space capital X, and we have seen that G bar is transitive on X. So the stabilizer within G bar, not just in H bar, but within G bar of this special pair will be G bar D. So that is because G lower bar is transitive on X, and the observation, is it? Yeah, it is transitive on X, and the observation that E, A, B and AB, now this AB has come, gives the basis of DK. So it will take that D to D.
It will fix D point-wise.
It will fix D point-wise.
So, Manish Tagore,
Yeah.
actually this transitivity is proved only at the K point level, right? So
K bar
again,
points. So here I goofed up. This is the notation anyway. Yeah, K bar points. Transitivity is on K bar points. But if you look at
transitivity is on K bar points, because I sort of remember that it was done on
no,
K.
it is so if you have K points non-empty, then of course you take two lambda mu pairs, then you can find an automorphism mapping one to the other. So that is there.
Sure. So it is really on K bar points.
Yeah, but because K points may be empty. Even for lambda equal to 1 and mu equal to 1, K points may be empty.
Saibat, like are you into quoting a theorem which you have proved before?
No, where?
This on transitivity of this?
This G bar.
No, on transitivity of as this action of this group on X, this variety X.
So action of G bar you mean, or on X?
What about this H bar?
No, this is, I'll tell you why. So I am talking about over K bar points first of all. So why is this transitive? Because suppose I take one special pair A comma B and A prime comma B prime, right? So we want to find an automorphism mapping one to the other. So here, of course, you are right. I'm using one basic result. So the thing is, so you can definitely find an isometry doing that job, right?
That's true. I mean, provided those things are in over small k.
No. Why over small k? K bar. You can find an isometry over k bar doing the job.
So, but then I have to like assume that something is Zariski dense. I mean,
No,
how
what
to
is
so many-
Zariski dense?
No,
Pranay,
but
this is quadratic form theory.
even our k bar. I mean, how do you?
No.
Basically, no. I have a point is over k bar. You cannot hope the k points of automorphism group of this is going to act transitive. You have to find over k bar only, right?
Yes.
So suppose I take a point over k, then I can find a thing over k which takes one to the other because of some previous theorem that we
Correct.
But over k bar कैसे करेंगे हम लोग?
So over k bar also we just think of quadratic form theoretically. We are not looking at density of k points or whatever. So you take two special pairs AB and A prime B prime. Then you can certainly find isometry doing the job, right?
No, what do you mean by that? I mean,
Yeah, because see that quadratic form n is non-degenerate, and these guys are orthogonal to each other, and they have same.
I see. In that sense, okay.
Yeah, so isometry you can always find, and from there you construct step by step. It is not trivial, but you can do it.
Gotcha.
So this transitivity is not an obvious statement, but it is.
But one can do it.
Yeah. So the thing is, we proved this result that if you have two composition algebras C1 and C2 whose norm forms are similar, not even isometric. If they're similar, then actually you can construct an isomorphism between them. So using that result, this transitivity follows.
Gotcha. Okay. So say it again.
Yeah. So if you have two composition algebras C1 N1 and C2 N2, and suppose N1 and N2 are similar quadratic forms, so that means there is a linear map from C1 to C2 invertible, which preserves these forms up to a scalar factor. Then there exists an isomorphism between C1 and C2, algebra isomorphism over K. So this result uses some basic quadratic form theory, Witt's extension theorem, but carefully, step by step, you have to construct, modify the map at every step to get an automorphism. So that will finally give this transitivity statement.
Okay. Sai. Great. Thank you.
Yeah. Shripad, go ahead.
Okay. So now we have that G bar acts on X transitively, and the stabilizer is simply G bar sub D. So we can again use that. We had observed that G bar sub D is a group of type SL2. So its dimension is 3 and dimension of X is 11. So G lower bar should have dimension 14. And further SO N1 is connected because SO is connected. So we have that X, which is a homogeneous space for SO N1. So X is irreducible. And G lower bar D, that's a group of type SL2 that is connected. So the whole group G bar is connected. So here we have proved that G lower bar is an algebraic group of dimension 14, and it is a connected algebraic group. Now we want to compute its rank. So we first of all exhibit a maximal torus in it, and that is again given in the similar way. So we have x plus ya going to t lambda x t lambda inverse plus t mu y t lambda inverse, where x and y are coming from D capital K and lambda and mu are coming from the non-zero elements in the algebraic closure. This is a torus of dimension 2. It is its own centralizer, therefore it's a maximal torus, where T lambda is this element in dk. So D capital K is the set of 2 by 2 matrices. It's a matrix algebra. So you have the diagonal
Sripad,
Yes.
that this I kind of, can you please explain why this T y T mu y T lambda inverse is of the form C y C inverse or P C y C inverse A?
Yeah, so
That Manish
for that,
already had,
yeah, so here what you do is you push a T lambda here and a T lambda inverse.
Acha. But
And
norm
combine
one,
combine T mu and T lambda inverse together, that will give you that norm one element.
acha.
And then you have the other conjugation.
But why it should give norm one element?
No, because the determinant one matrix, no?
the norm on the matrix.
I see. So you're very okay.
Okay. All right.
I guess, yeah. So, but your T lambda, you are choosing a
Already T
choosing a
lambda
splitting
are
of-
norm 1,
you are,
right?
you are choosing a split. I mean, you are choosing a splitting of decay, right?
Yeah. So that.
But then you are not doing. So norm. What do you mean by norm one element? I mean, I am slightly confused here because
No. Norm one element in decay. So decay is a matrix algebra. Here norm is just the determinant map. So T lambdas are norm one elements in decay. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he has muted himself.
Oh, Pralay, huh? I see.
Oh, sorry. So norm is an element from your C to K, right?
Correct. So when you restrict it to a matrix, see any composition subalgebra means when you restrict the norm to that subalgebra, it should coincide with the norm on the subalgebra.
That is why. Okay.
Yeah.
That is
And
why
then
your norm
matrix-
should be 1 because of some Coulomb-Noether maybe.
No. Norm on the matrix algebra is just the determinant. So whatever norm you start
No,
with.
but the norm which you are restricting may not be the norm which is obtained by the isomorphism to
Correct. So what I am saying is, suppose I even start with some composition.
That is why I am saying it may be you may have to apply some Coulomb-Noether.
No Skolem-Noether, Pralay. The point is that if you have a matrix subalgebra in your octonian algebra, then when you restrict the norm to that norm will be isotropic. It will have non-trivial zeros.
No, I have a question because dk, why is it M2K?
Yeah, dk, because see, D is a quaternion algebra and dk is D tensor K. So it is isomorphic to 2 by 2 matrices. So there is some.
So D tensor K is M2K, that I agree.
Yes, so that's all. This is D tensor
But
K.
you are fixing an isomorphism. There is an isomorphism.
Yes. There is so we are writing one maximal torus up to some. So you have to change your algebra up to an isomorphism to get to this form, but then you will conjugate by the inverse of that isomorphism finally.
So your norm which you are restricting may not be the norm which is obtained by the isomorphism that you are fixing on M2.
No. That's why you just listen. No, if you take a composition subalgebra which is split, meaning it's a 2 by 2 matrix algebra, then when you restrict the norm, that norm will have non-trivial zeros there. Okay. And it's a 4-dimensional Pfister form, so that will put it as hyperbolic. Therefore, once you have a 4-dimensional hyperbolic form, whatever you do, it is going to be that, and that you can identify with the determinant map there. So it's determined completely.
ठीक है.
He doesn't sound convinced.
No, it's okay.
No. What I am saying is, once the norm is isotropic, it is hyperbolic. That is the property of Pfister forms. And determinant is a hyperbolic Pfister form on matrix algebra. So both are same up to some, as you said, some isomorphism conjugation you have to do isometry. I mean, there are isometries.
तो वही तो हम पूछ रहे हैं.
But doesn't matter, no? You call it determinant or you call it anything else. This torus will remain. I mean, that's okay. We are just writing down one explicit expression for a torus.
So this T lambda is your lambda 0 lambda inverse. That actually is creating a confusion to me.
Yeah, so what you should do to convince yourself, you write the octonion as M2K, direct sum M2K, and define the norm as determinant X minus determinant Y, and then you write down this torus. That's all. So work with that copy of C over algebraic closure and do the calculation. It's not such a big problem.
Okay. ठीक है, सही बात.
Okay, so I guess we will skip the details here.
Yeah.
Because
it is explicitly, you can write down the diagonalization.
Exactly. The whole torus is written here.
Yeah.
And we see that it's generated by mu and lambda. Therefore, it's a two-dimensional torus. And he also, in fact, proved that
it's okay. Centralizer is
the torus itself because it has to preserve the dk.
Yeah.
And then it can again be written in the same form. So it is just the torus. And therefore, it's a maximal torus. The leaves in eigenspaces, they're invariant.
Yeah, you grant that it's a maximal torus of dimension 2. You go ahead.
And then we go to the center of G bar. So center of G bar is 1 because we take T in the center of G bar. That will be contained in the centralizer of T in G bar. Therefore, it's in the torus T, and so it can be written in this form. And then you simply apply this using lambda and mu on. You look at this map again, and because it's in the center, it has to be identity. What are we doing here? So 1 second.
No, so it commutes with every automorphism. So in particular, it will commute with those which stabilize decay.
Yes.
And that will tell you that when you write down, you have to choose some automorphisms cleverly, which are not difficult to do.
Okay.
You will be able to conclude that lambda inverse must be a scalar matrix. So lambda should be lambda inverse, and that will finally tell you the.
All right. So again, that we will take for granted.
Yeah, you just skip it. It's all.
And now once we have computed the dimension, then showing that it's so it is reductive. That will be because of that very clever lemma that it acts on some vector space irreducibly. So if you have some
no, that not some vector space irreducible. There is a embedding in GLV. That's
it's a faithful representation.
Faithfulness is important here.
Yes, it's true. So any group G, any algebraic group G which has a faithful irreducible representation is reductive. That is the statement that we will use.
Also, Manish, so the number of roots is 12. Can you please explain again? I missed that point.
What did you miss?
Number of roots is 12, precisely 12 you have calculated, right?
No, that we just computed from dimension and reductivity and rank. The dimension was 14, rank is 2, in the sense two-dimensional maximal torus.
Oh, acha.
So from there it will follow that number of roots is 12. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
Correct. Fantastic.
So actually, just from this computation itself, that it's a two-dimensional root system with 12 roots, that it must be a group of type G2.
Correct.
What are we doing here? The only non-zero. Okay, so here we are.
You produce a faithful irreducible representation.
Correct. So that will also give this very interesting corollary that it has a 7-dimensional faithful irreducible representation. This is the first smallest dimensional representation which is irreducible other than the trivial one, and it happens to be faithful. Hence, by the reductivity criterion, it's reductive group. And then we have the theorem that for a K octonion algebra capital C, you take G lower bar, which is odd C tensor with capital K. This is a connected simple algebraic group. Connectedness we have proved simple because its center is trivial, so it cannot even have it. It is semi-simple first of all because the center is trivial, and then we see that the root system is irreducible. So it
Yeah.
has to be a simple algebraic group of type G.
Yeah.
That completes essentially what we wanted to do. What else have you done? Okay, so then you talked about F4, E6, E7.
This anyway, I will do it in a coming lecture, so you can skip this part. I will more or less repeat this.
Yes, yeah, this will be required. So to show any k form of G2 occurs as odd Ck for some octonion over small k, one uses the fact that G2 is odd of split octonion, which is also odd of G2, and that H1 k odd split oct is isomorphism classes of octonions, which is same as isomorphism classes of k forms of G2.
Yeah, so I had made some noises about this. How one. So you start with a group of type G2 over K, then you must construct an octonian algebra whose automorphism group is that. So to do that, you start with a group of type G2, then it falls. So H1 of, where is that? I didn't. So H1 of G2. So that element will be here. The group you start with will be represented by a cocycle here.
Yes,
Right?
this H1.
Yeah. And that cocycle gives us a Galois action on the split G2.
Yes.
Whose fixed points is the group, right? And by this, you can pass that action onto the action on the split octonian algebra.
Manish, what is split octonion you are saying? What is the meaning of that?
The norm form is isotropic. Then it is completely hyperbolic. That is called split octonian algebra. And I had given that Zorn matrices as one model, or you can double the matrix algebra to get the split octonions.
But what about these, the ones that you have just given? Is it what kind of octonian algebra is this?
These are any octonian algebra I've been working with.
No, this is any octonian algebra. Then what is the rank that will be? What is the K rank?
K rank is maybe 0, maybe or anisotropic. So either it is anisotropic or completely split group.
Achha.
So any form of G2 is either anisotropic or split. Because of the octonian algebra, it's either division algebra or split.
Achha.
Right.
Okay. So this is not an example of a split thing, right? So I was wondering because I was thinking that lambda mu might be coming from your from some. Okay, but that is over k bar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah, so
this
because I was
thing,
just trying to
this
say
thing.
that the cocycle you use to twist the
We
group.
start with a group of type G2 over small
Correct.
k, go to
Correct.
algebraic closure.
Yeah.
Now it is split. So the lower group is given by lower group is a form of the split group because split group is also defined over small k. So lower group G is a form of the split group G2.
Yeah.
Which is
So
also
it is obtained by a cocycle taking values here in odd G2.
correct. And we take the action of the same cocycle on the split octonions.
Correct. You
So
can
Manish,
yes.
If you start with D something split, then the corresponding C will also be split. Is it?
Yes.
So in that case, I'll get a split group.
Correct.
Okay. So in that case, that K bar isomorphism, I'll actually get over K.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Right. Yes, Sripad, you can pass this. It is up to anybody who's interested. They can just work it out. There's nothing.
But you are saying that the same cocycle will give us some octonian algebra, and that
Because so you take a cocycle with values in odd G2. Okay?
Yes.
That odd G2 is same as odd of split octonion. So I have a cocycle in automorphisms of split octonion.
Yes.
and the action I can transfer it here to twist the split octonion by that Galois action.
Correct.
So I am taking fixed points in this automorphism group by the new action.
Okay.
It will result in automorphisms of some algebra over K.
Yes.
And that is the algebra. That is the octonion we wanted.
But how do we know that this automorphism of that algebra is the group we started with?
No, because you're using the same cocycle.
So that cocycle commutes with something.
Yeah. So these equalities are actually isomorphisms, natural isomorphisms. You have to write them down. So the same cocycle will tell you that automorphisms of split octonion fixed points by that action is equal to automorphisms of the fixed points. And the fixed points will be an octonion algebra.
Okay. Great. So the same principle can be applied to many other.
Yeah. Any other split group which is adjoint as well as satisfies this condition that automorphisms are equal to the group itself.
Okay. So F4 also.
Correct. F4, E8, all these three groups you can apply.
Okay. All right. Good. Are there any other comments?
Today, I think the participation is much reduced.
When you say automorphism is the group itself, you mean that the automorphisms are inner automorphisms, right? That's what you mean.
Yes. And there are no outer automorphisms. Exactly.
Yeah, but that is typically true for most semi-simple groups, right? Because
so other than D-type groups and E6 and so you have to just rule out the symmetric diagrams. Correct.
I mean, up to a subgroup of finite.
No. But Riddhi, you must take a group with trivial center also. So we want equality. So diagram automorphism should be trivial as well as the center should be trivial.
Oh, not finite also.
No. Your center should be trivial.
Okay. Nice. So are there two Manishis or what? Pralay said Manish Thakur, so I was wondering.
That is a habit.
Achha.
That's an old habit. So
Yeah, old habits die hard.
I used to call him Thakur. So
Yes. You can unshare, Sripad. We can see each other then to end the meeting. Well, you can't see me because sun is setting here and I have become part of the darkness.
So have I.
So Delhi, I heard temperatures have dropped because of the rains.
Yeah, lot of rains in last 2 weeks.
So some respite for you.
Yeah, it was hot.
Pralay, good. You raised lots of good questions today.
no, I mean not question, but these I had some doubt. These are not good.
No, but your best question was about defined over K. So I think that point should be clarified. So when you look at the ideal of the variety that acquires more polynomials, and then finally it is radical it's a radical ideal, but then the generators you may not be able to find which live over K. So these kind of things happen over bad characteristics. Sripad, you in fact proved in one of your papers, I don't know if you got it published or not, H1 of, you're looking at forms of GA, right?
That is not published.
Yeah, so that kind of construction, I think you will be able to see such phenomena there.
So, Manish, what happened to your homework? You were doing that, no? 5x bar is 5x bar.
Oh, I never got a free time.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, I promise to do it next time. I can do it now, but
Manish, we can just work with X which are invertible and then Skolem-Noether.
No, but Sripad, what is wrong with my argument? So I gave you this argument. Let's look at trace zero elements in the algebra.
Yes.
Let's go slow. So trace zero elements meaning x bar is minus x, right?
Yes.
Now apply phi on both sides. So you get phi of x bar is minus phi of x, right?
Yes.
Now I think I understand the problem. So
Phi
preserves.
So what you have to
Yeah.
what you have to do is that trace zero elements can be classified by looking at x square.
Yeah, that equation.
Anirban,
Yeah.
please go ahead. Anirban has raised the hand.
No, so I was just wondering for this thing, I mean, in order to show that every automorphism of C lies in orthogonal group of the norm form.
Yeah.
I think one can separately, I mean, starting with the information that phi is an automorphism, algebra automorphism. If separately we can prove that it preserves the norm, then the trace formula is automatically, I mean, that it preserves x comma e inner product. That is following from that result, right?
Yeah. So either you prove it preserves trace or you prove it preserves norm. One of the two you work you do.
Because I was trying to do it only, I mean, for the purpose of this proof, I was trying to see whether the trace thing can be verified by hand or not. But somehow by means of calculations, I was reaching a step where I was requiring that this automorphism preserves the norm in general. And then I could deduce. I mean, separately, this trace thing I could not deduce. That's why.
No. I will give a proof, Riddhi. I will write an email to all of you with a simple proof. I promise this. I'm sorry I couldn't work out.
If we have 1 or 2 minutes, we can discuss this. That it would be enough to check it for invertible elements.
Yes.
And then those will give rise to octon composition subalgebras because they satisfy degree 2 polynomials.
Okay.
So it will give you a degree 2 field extension. And the degree 2 field extension.
It should be true. Yeah, there it is obvious.
Yes, then that is all. Meaning you, of course, need to use Kolem-Noether.
No, but we should be careful because Kolem-Noether may be needing this statement. So I think we should give an elementary proof.
Okay.
We'll try.
Yeah, Manish, where did you, which book did you follow in order to give all this technical details like rank of this?
So this is in Springer's book on Octonian Jordan algebras and exceptional groups. Actually, for Lie groups, compact Lie groups, proofs are much simpler, and you can find them in Postnikov's book on lectures in geometry. For compact Lie groups, you can do this much simpler way.
Okay.
But the ideas are same. I mean, you have to find some manifold, compact manifold on which this acts transitively and blah, blah, blah. So the same ideas work there. And the proofs are much more easily done. So in algebraic group theory, you have to worry about something being defined over this or that and so on. So a lot of nonsense comes in, but Lie groups are simpler.
Yes, good. Okay, so shall we stop?
I have one question from earlier lecture. Can I ask?
Yes.
So the theorem we proved, no? So there are only algebras, those are octonians, quaternions, and so on.
Yeah.
So in that, so process will stop. That was we were saying. So the underlying norm form is non-degenerate. We are assuming, right? So if So if we don't assume the non-degeneracy, does process stop in that case also, or we can find some algebra of higher dimension? Because the proof goes like we take something in perp and then it is non-degenerate and then we continue.
Yeah. So no, then how do you double it, right? So I don't understand the question. So yeah, doubling requires a non-zero, an element with non-zero norm in the perp.
Okay.
So if you can guarantee that somehow, then maybe you can double it.
Okay.
But the problem is, Abhay, the quadratic form is multiplicative. So that will force it to be a Pfister form, no?
Right.
I mean, provided it's something non-degenerate, of course. Otherwise,
Non-degenerate. Okay. Means this kind of means. I'm whether I'm
But
correct or not.
otherwise,
In non-degeneracy, it looks like it will give every element has an inverse, so kind of division algebra thing.
not
No.
yeah. If it is a division algebra, then every non-zero will have an inverse. But non-degeneracy means you can find elements which are anisotropic.
Okay. I see. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, so I promise a proof of whatever I goofed. I did not write there. I will send a proof by email. Hopefully that will be correct. Sripad will double check it. Alright, good, yeah. Sripad, well done. Job good, well done on the tutorial job.